Good.
Drug testing TMP recipients isn't needed because taxpayers are wasting their money and it's unethical towards the individuals being tested.
Giving some context, in today's world, welfare recipients are being bombarded and questioned with the subject of illegal drug use. On one side, many feel their taxes should not go to individuals who would use the money otherwise, while the other side is that mandatory drug testing is unethical and a waste of money and would overall just be a bad idea and only result in negative outcomes. Looking at our side through the lens of ethicality, our first argument is that this new system would heavily violate the individual's constitutional rights. As shown on the slide behind me, the Fourth Amendment protects individuals under unreasonable searches and seizures. These urine tests do fall under the Fourth Amendment, and mandatory means automatic, so individuals would not get a choice. This causes these tests to be very unethical and unconstitutional. Another part of these tests that lower how ethical they are is how much they can throw individuals into poverty and even keep them there. People who do fail these tests have their benefits automatically stripped away, forcing millions to fall even further on poverty as shown on the bullet points. From issues and controversies, a statement was made that some liberals, however, cautioned that the new law could push the poorest Americans more deeply into poverty and hurt most in need. Over the next 14 years, the numbers of Americans receiving benefits declined significantly from 12 million in 1996 to less than 4.5 million in 2010. If you take a look at these two diagrams right here, you can see how large the gap is between people tested and people failing. This helps show, this helps point to the economic side of things where it's a big waste of money, but also showing how little the tests are needed based on how many positive drug tests there are. And also, these tests, and my next point is that these tests are solely based off of stereotypes, that being that people in poverty are most likely to be addicts. These stereotypes can be extremely harmful, causing shame to those who are struggling for addiction and causes them to not want to seek out help.
All right, so some political implications on this. Over the years, a lot of courts have ruled that TNF drug testing laws do violate the Fourth Amendment, as Bailey said earlier. So it violates their rights to, due process when it comes to things like search and seizure. And that in order for these laws to fit within the ramifications of the Constitution, they have to be modified heavily. So right here, this is a quote from an article from the Wilson Daily Times regarding a North Carolina bill for drug testing TNF. It says here, the North Carolina bill says that the applicants would meet the reasonable suspicion standard if they had a conviction, arrest, or outstanding warrant relating to illegal controlled substances, and that counting arrests rather than convictions undermine the defendant's presumption of innocence. And so pretty much that just means that you can't count arrests, because when you get arrested, you're not actually convicted of anything relating to drugs, you're just suspected of it. Right here, this is a political cartoon. It kind of it goes through a different TNF drug testing program law. This time it's in Florida. So right here, the American Civil Liberties Union it's been going against a lot of these laws because it believes it violates workers' rights, and again, that Fourth Amendment, just making sure that these laws just don't fit that. So just political solutions on this is that you can modify the current laws to abide by the Constitution, so just make sure they fit within the ramifications of the Fourth Amendment. And then the even more radical standpoint here is you have to get rid of the current TNF testing laws and leave drug crime to the justice system and the police. So like right here, these are all of the states here in blue are states that have adopted drug testing laws for TNF, and even, as you can see, other forms of welfare, such as the Nutrition Assistance Program or food stamps, that's SNAP, and then even Medicaid, and then some other local assistance. So all of these states here in dark blue are the ones that drug test for TNF, and those are the states that the laws need to be changed in.
In addition to looking through the political and ethical lens, economically, choosing to not drug test those involved in the system would save us tons of money, time, and confusion. For years, we have been a little skeptical towards paying for drug tests and welfare because people always just thought it might end up supporting drugs. Typically, that isn't the case, but stereotypically, it's true and makes sense to other individuals. But statistically, the perspective that truly matters proves the stereotypes wrong. Some things that taxpayers might ask are categorized as the negative implications. For example, no matter what, taxes have to be paid, so why should welfare take their money? This is true, but spending less rather than more is a big step when trying to better our economy. Another question, what if more people take this end to drug testing for granted and start using because they think no one will stop them? If this comes to be a problem, the money they spend on drugs will still come out of their welfare check most likely, which could be a factor that makes us suspicious, and therefore will then drug test them. So basically, if the rate of suspicion rises, we will have to take action and realize that we need to have more control. A solution is to just drug test those suspected. If the recipients test positive, we will need to give them a chance to get clean, or they'll have to have their welfare privileges taken away. Our country has and always will have some problems with financial issues, but think about how much we could save if we cut down drug testing. According to the CUNA's article, only 1 person out of 800 who applied for welfare tested positive, meaning that we're so worried about what people look like that we don't even pay attention to the statistics, which is what really matters when deciding these issues. To understand better, a graph would help sort out information. Looking at this graph, it's shown that in Florida, only 2% of welfare recipients of the total 10% ended up testing positive for drug use, showing that not even half of the failing rate are even involved in welfare. It's obvious that so many people use their ideas of welfare recipients being drug addicts because of stereotypes. As a country, we should start looking at statistics rather than biased opinions. If you evaluate these cartoons, you'll see different kinds of situations people use to stereotype welfare members with. For example, in the top middle picture, you see that the woman is tied to the governors who are a part of the welfare system. When you see this, does it make sense or go with your thinking? Another example, in the top left, there's a large crowd yelling at a single mother, calling her hurtful names that go with stereotypical ideas, by telling her basically she needs to stop being lazy and go get a job. When thinking of a single mother with no job, you start to wonder what happened with the father, and that the mom is just into the wrong situations like drug use and can't hold a relationship, when really her husband could have passed away, or she's too sick to get a good enough job that supports her and her child, along with housing, transportation, and food. Everything you need to live, but with no paycheck. So what do you think of when you're asked if drug testing should be required, and do these images depict your thinking?
So, taxpayers everywhere in the United States, they deserve the reassurance that their money is going somewhere that is necessary and productive. They need to know that with drug testing, their money is going to help somebody out there. The TANF system isn't going to be beneficial if drug users are taking advantage of the taxpayers' funding. TANF stands for Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. So the kids in welfare need help just as much as the parents. And it's a proven fact that children look up to their parents, and drug testing is the only way to ensure that the kids are protected and properly cared for. The only way that children have the proper care is if the parents have limited access with welfare money and prevent the use of drugs in the household. So welfare drug testing is the best strategy to protect children in homes with welfare assistance, and it can help save money while protecting the taxpayers altogether. The children in these families are being affected by the drug testing in a positive manner because it can help point them in the right direction, and it saves money by limiting the amount being wasted on drug users.
Go back, Andy.
There you go.
Andy, go back.
Okay. So, according to the CUNA article, 4 out of 10 people who are in the welfare system have a psychiatric disorder from an addiction of drugs and or alcohol. Children of these people are already on the struggle bus, and by adding drug testing, this would limit the extent of the dangerous obstacles or anything throughout their lives. The diagram presented to you provides the estimated amount of